because it's not happening to you. It is way, or you don't know what the F you're talking about because you just did not get taught. You did not learn. I don't know what's going on, but I just couldn't accept that as an answer. I realized that there was no way I could be the only woman out there suffering in silence and not understanding how to navigate this next section of life.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. So, are you a woman like me? You're in your 50s and you're thinking, it might be too late to reinvent myself at this point. Or maybe you're really tired of all those ads about telling us how we should be wearing Depends, anti-aging serum, let's change the way we look. Or maybe those ads telling us to ditch our mini skirts for something more appropriate. Well, if you're like me and you're fed up with all of those ads, you're going to love my guest this week on Beyond Empty Nest. I have in the Zoom room with me, Jack Perez. She is a pro-aging champion. She promotes normalizing aging for women through curated content and women-driven brands. With over 60 KUEL category thought leaders, and let me just tell you, KUEL is KUEL, thought leaders, and 40 women-driven brands, KUEL Life offers women an opportunity to share, learn, shop, and play with our second act sisters. Welcome, Jack.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Jody. It is so awesome to be here. I'm very excited for this conversation.
I am too. We haven't really had a conversation about ageism and how we want to normalize it. I will tell you, all kidding aside, I can't, if I see one more ad about Depends, and I'm not trying to ignore the fact that there are pelvic floor issues, as we age, there are pelvic floor issues as soon as if you're a mom, you give birth, and for other reasons, if you're an athlete. And yet, making that a normal thing, it's stop. There's so much more to being a woman in her 50s, her 60s, and her 70s and above than just worrying about our wrinkles and worrying about if our skirt is too short or not. So when I met you, I knew I wanted to have this conversation with you. So before we dive into really a conversation about what normalizing aging is and what brought you here, what made you so passionate to start this whole platform called, it's KUEL Life, right? KUEL Life, KEUL Life. And put this platform together for women of our age?
Well, Jody, if I'm totally honest and transparent, it was a completely selfish move on my part.
I like that.
I got to my early 50s, 52 or 53, and menopause hit me like a tractor trailer. You name it, I had it. I had 30 pounds of weight gain. I had brain fog. I had anxiety for the first time in my life. Not even an anxious person. Yet I was waking up and thinking, oh my God, I can't get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. I was a terrible version of Jacqueline Perez. I wasn't a good partner. I wasn't a good mother. I wasn't a good friend. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm 52, I'm 53. I'm not that close to death. Is this how it's going to be for the next 30 or 40 years? I found that to be completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Completely unacceptable. And when I went out to get information to help myself, because I'm one of those people that believes that information is power.
Yep.
And I want to know what's going on, and I want to be able to cobble together a solution that works for me. And I do that by going out and researching different ideas and topics and what are the industry experts saying about this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what the industry experts were saying back 5 or 6 years ago? Not much.
No, you can't do anything about it, right?
I got so many, oh, it's just menopause. You just have to get over it and just deal with it. And I'm looking
Right.
at them going, because it's not happening to you. It is way, or you don't know what the F you're talking about because you just did not get taught. You did not learn. I don't know what's going on, but I just couldn't accept that as an answer. I realized that there was no way I could be the only woman out there suffering in silence and not understanding how to navigate this next section of life, which I like to call as second act. I mean, there's so many different words for it: third act, second act, whatever, midlife and beyond.
Right.
Label it whatever you want. The reality is that for the first time in the history of humanity, period, there are more women alive today in a collective between the baby boomers, the Gen Xers, and now the elder millennials who are entering into their 40s.
Yeah.
That's people. I'm about to be 60. Guess what's not midlife? 60.
No, it's
So
not.
much. But 40 is actually truly midlife. Yeah. And so if you look at the numbers, it is alarming in a very, very significant way. And I'm not suggesting, Jody, that, 100 years ago in the, early 1900s, that women didn't live to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I'm sure they did, but not in the sheer numbers.
No.
And so what does that mean, right? What does that mean? I know personally for me, it meant that I had no modeling in front of me about what it could look like. I had no modeling. I mean, I was looking at my mom and my grandmother and thinking, I don't want to be them. And I also know that there are mothers out there and grandmothers out there of women our age who did amazing things. But once again, they were the exception to the rule. And now we're seeing women like yourself and me and all of those other women who are out there killing it. We're not the exception anymore.
No.
You know what we're normal.
And we're very relevant. And we're very relevant. And we're
normalizing aging. We're doing it. We're doing it by living and being out there and showing the world that you don't have to stop. You don't have to slow down.
Yeah. I love that. Well, first of all, what I love about you so much when I met you, Jack, is the passion in your voice. So if those of you that are listening hear the passion, I will implore you and invite you to go watch our video, because I'm the same way. And so when I see the passion, like, I want our women in the audience and the men, the few men that listen to us, to see the passion as you talk, because the story you just shared about what led you here to normalize aging and to bring women together as a collective power together is all too common. It starts with that menopause. I mean, my mom never mentioned menopause. Wait, I forget, not even mentioned perimenopause. There's women in their 30s that they have no idea why they're feeling the way they're feeling. They think they're going crazy. You think you're going nuts, and you nailed it. It's starting to, there are starting to become doctors out there, specifically women, physicians for women, that are getting louder. The voices are being amplified, that this doesn't have to, that menopause is something that happens, and yet the symptoms are not something you have to suffer through and just suck it up because every woman gets menopause. That's just silly. To tell anybody, well, just suck it up because that's just what happens. Like, no. And so yay you for being who you are and not accepting it. And I actually sat with somebody recently for an episode. Dr. Kari Schaefer was part of my episode. She calls herself the menopause midwife, menopause midwife. And, I learned from her the first time I ever spoke to her that about having phobias, starting to have fear, and that fears can be that you've never had before, that it is an absolute direct link to menopause. So I digress in my conversation here, but I just wanted to acknowledge that your story about how menopause and the lack of knowledge from your physicians and the people that you sought help from and the guidance from them was the launching pad to something great. And I think it's great.
I think pain and discomfort are incredible motivators.
They are pain and discomfort are incredible motivators. That's your aha number one from this episode. If you didn't write that down, write it down. So now you're all about normalizing aging. So tell people about KUEL Life, because KUEL Life is your platform, and we'll have a link below on how they can find it. But tell them, so how long has KUEL Life been around?
Probably about 5 or 6 years. You would think I would have that number memorized.
No,
but
I
I'm
don't either.
terrible when it comes to dates. Oh my goodness, everything
Yeah.
is just smushy. I can tell you, like, my son was a sophomore in high school. I can tell you that part, but I don't know exactly when that was. That sort of
Oh
thing.
my God, Jack, we are soul sisters. I literally have a note on my laptop of the year my kids graduated high school because I can't retain that information. Oh
Yeah,
my God,
no,
I love you. Okay.
I
Yay.
can't. So, so what I decided to do is because I wanted information and I couldn't find it. And I thought, okay, well, and I'm pretty clever. I'm a pretty clever individual and I know my way around the internet. But I thought, well, what can I do to add value to the world? Well, what if I went out and I found those women who are already doing the life hacks, right? They're already helping women either through the gray divorce, or they're already helping, women parent their adult children, because whoa, parenting
That's all.
people in their 20s is not for sissies. That is a whole other
It's
ball of
not.
wax that I had. You don't see that coming either. And they hand you this baby at the hospital. You have no idea.
Oh my God, I have a t-shirt I sell in the Dare On shop. It says "Motherhood, a life sentence" with a big heart. So yeah, there you go. So go ahead.
I often refer to motherhood prison. I really do. I often refer to motherhood prison.
All right, so you were thinking
So,
again, how can I
so I
find women?
yeah, so I went out and I started searching for women who were already handling and dealing and with these opportunities and challenges that present themselves, which are many, and they're very varied, and they come at you at the same time. It is not uncommon or unusual for a woman in our age group to be, yelling at their teenager for stealing the car at 3 a.m. in the morning and receiving a phone call at 6 a.m. that their mother fell down at the facility and broke a hip. Right? So you're caught in the middle. It's this sandwich generation. I mean, we have a lot on us. And I knew that we were already out there helping other women. And I thought, well, what better way to add value to the world than to collect these resources, bring them into a designated platform? I mean, yes, KUEL Life is my platform.
Yeah.
But it really belongs to the over 65 women from around the world.
Yeah.
Monthly provide their insights, their hacks, their tips, their wisdom. Yeah, I think that's incredibly powerful.
I love that. I love that. So and again, the links in the show notes, and definitely check it out because there all these topics and more are covered there. So when you talk about normalizing aging, like, because you can look at that if you're a real black and white person, you can say, well, we don't want to normalize, like you could say we don't want to normalize the things that happen to us. We don't want to normalize menopause, but what do you mean by normalizing aging?
That's a great question. And I'm really glad you asked it because I love answering this question.
Okay, okay.
What I mean, and I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Well, let me back up for a second.
Go ahead.
Big picture, I think women, as we get older, become more collaborative and less competitive.
Absolutely.
I think when we're younger, we're far more competitive, and there are good reasons we're like that, ladies. When I was in corporate America and I looked in that room, there was one seat at that table for a skirt. And if I didn't put my skirt in there, where was I going to go? Right. But now that we're older, we realize that not only, okay, fine, maybe that room only has room for one skirt, but we go build our own rooms. We build our own tables, right? And so as we get older, we're far more collaborative. And what I mean by normalizing aging is that I think it needs to be okay and normal for a woman to drop off her child at college, turn around, grab her passport, and hit the road. I also think it should be viewed as normal and accepted that woman goes home and sits on her son or daughter's bed, holding the pillow, smelling it, and crying. And guess what? It's normal for that to be the same woman, depending on the day, depending on the situation. I think it needs to be normal that a woman my age has this color hair, or white hair, or any other color hair. I think it needs to be normal that I either Botox or don't Botox. I don't think it needs to be a topic of conversation. I think that what I mean by normalize, I said, we have to stop being divisive with each other. We need to start accepting, a larger palette of normalcy for other women so that we can be cohesive and strong as a collective rather than divisive. I don't want to be on a team with women who color hair against women who don't color hair. Oh, I want to team because we're a stronger team if we're together. But they, them, whoever they or they, them are, it behooves they, them for us to stay divisive, ladies, because if we're infighting, guess what we're not doing? We're not solidifying our stance. We're not making our demands for, lack of ageism and being treated equally and equitably.
Yes.
So
I love that. Okay.
we got to stop the infighting. We just have to stop the infighting.
Oh, and I love that. I love that. And something else that came to mind, I love how you described that the same mother that drops her child off at college is the same mother that's going to go travel around the world. She's the same woman who can sit on the bed and cry. She's the same woman who could drop them off at college and go sit around the boardroom. And
yes.
I love that. And you made me think about, and she's also the same woman who decides she wants to watch her grandchildren for her children. Like she wants to be a full-time grandmom. The same, it's like
that because that's not me.
That's not me either, but it's okay if it's you.
But you're absolutely right. There has to be room for the woman who wants to bake cupcakes and pick up her grandchild and sit on the ground with them and color. 100,000,000%. Thank you for adding that, because since it's not one of the things that I'm interested in, I don't even, I'm like, that's not, please don't make me do that. But
no, I know. And I think it's because I think we very easily, I love how you described normalizing aging. So thank you for that, for that clarification, because it does open up your mind to start thinking about where might I be not being open and collaborative, and I might still be judging and collective. I do find though that the older we get, so I'm close, I'm 57, I'll be 58 this year. So I consider us the same age. I have found that the women all around me are so much more collaborative than competitive, that the middle school BS is gone. Like I have the Moms Who Dare community. I have a Facebook group and I have the membership. We pride ourselves. There is no drama in the Moms Who Double Dare membership community. There's no drama here. We've all been to middle school. We're on even ground. The majority of us are moms, and just motherhood alone evens it up, right? We're even. We can't judge each other. But it's interesting when you become a new mom, there's a lot of judgment that can happen there. There can. But I love that. At this stage of our life, it's time to be more collaborative, less competitive, and no matter what we have choices. These are the most empowering years.
They really are.
We call them the FU 50 years. I mean, I'm not going to drop the bomb. Although my anybody who knows me listening is like, come on, Jody, just say it. It's your favorite word. But it is. It's
my favorite word too.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? And I like to hear your take on this. It's not that I don't care what people think about me. I want to be known as a nice person, a kind person. When I leave the room, I want nice things said about me. And with that being said, if I don't resonate with you, that's okay too.
Oh, yeah. And I think that I think you can define someone as kind and also not resonate with them. They're not mutually exclusive.
No.
I can meet someone and say, wow, that person's doing good in the world. That person's has integrity. That person leads with honesty. They're a little too this for me personally, or they're a little too that for me personally. So I'm not going to hang with them because it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But but that doesn't mean that they're a bad person or that they're not. So I think you can see both in people. I don't think they're mutually exclusive personally.
So Jack, share, I'm curious, what did you do before KUEL Life and what your kids?
I
What's
was,
you've won? That's right. Okay. How old?
she's 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah. And that whole parenting kids in your 20s, like I said, it's a, it's challenging.
It
But
is.
yes, what I did before KUEL Life, well, right before KUEL Life, what I did was I did fractional executive work because I wanted to be there for my child growing up, and I was a single mom. So I really wanted to be, I wanted to be able to read at a school. I wanted to be able to walk him home. I wanted
Yeah.
to do all those things. And a full-time corporate big girl job was going to make it so I couldn't do that.
Right.
And my perspective, and once again, it is normal for a woman to choose that. And it is also normal for a woman to go back to the boardroom. And I don't judge either one.
No.
It's for me, I had my child at 38. I almost didn't have him because I didn't want a family. I didn't want kids. I didn't understand why anyone would. Finally made the decision. I'm not a half-assed person. So for me, if I was going to do it, then I was actually going to be there. I wanted to do all of the things.
Right.
And for me to do all of the things meant I had to put the job and my career on the back burner. And so prior to that, I owned a marketing and PR firm in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
And we used to take companies from the back of the napkin at the coffee shop to launch and everything in between. I've done all of the big girl jobs, but I wanted to be kind of almost an at-home mom, but I still needed to work.
I mean, that's great. I had a whole mix because I'm 50, my daughter's 29, my son will be 26 by the time this episode goes live. And I had the best of both worlds for me. I worked part-time out of the house at 3 days a week, and then I had 2 days a week plus the weekends to be that full-time mom that I wanted to be. And that's what worked for me. But I had a mix of friends. I was one back then, I was really one of the very few moms that did work outside of the home, outside of being a full-time mom. And so my daughter and my son stayed at preschool, after lunch bunch, when all their friends left, they were there till 3. That was hard. That was hard, but it was good for me. And I found there was never any problem with me and my friends. There was a little mix. More of them were home more than not. And now I just think it's impossible. It's almost impossible to have only one income for our generation of children growing up. It's hard. But I like that. It is a choice. Women have choice. Women have choice. And everybody's life is different. And normalizing this conversation, normalizing aging, is understanding that your choice is for you, and it's not the same choice for some. And look what COVID did. You talked about the color hair. We're like, it's a redheaded thing going on here. Brunette, redhead, but the COVID resulted in so many women just standing in their gray power and just saying, I'm
Awesome.
done with this.
Yeah, you know what? And I was so proud of all of those women, and more power to them.
Yeah.
But guess what? I am not a redhead. I was born a brunette.
Me too.
And at 20 something, I decided I wanted to be a redhead. And so I changed my hair color at like 25 or 26. Why now? If I changed it from brunette to red, why now am I insulting anyone by keeping it red and not letting it go to white?
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? I didn't color my hair
Right.
because of the gray or the aging or the patriarch. I colored it because I wasn't born a redhead, but I am one.
Yeah, I get it. And I think it's great. And I get it. So it's the biggest takeaway from this is do you, be you, do you, stand firm in it and support your fellow women who want to do themselves and be themselves and show up as their authentic selves, and applaud them for going red, applaud them for going gray, and saying, what is, if this is what you want, then I stand by and I lift you up and I move you forward. It's like, get rid of the competition, get rid of the judgment, and stay in the collab. And that's how we normalize aging, by together. And I think it is happening. There's a whole movement out there, a whole
There
movement.
is. I mean, the,
So,
the landscape has changed dramatically in 5 years for the better.
Yeah.
For the better. Absolutely.
what would you say? And I want to share with our audience, we don't rehearse these shows. I just come up with questions and we go with it. So I love this. What would you say to the woman who's saying, okay, so Jody, you started off this saying that maybe you're that woman who thinks it's too late to reinvent myself. I've been an attorney all my life, or I've been 20 years out of the workforce. I don't, because I know how I share my story a lot. But what would you say to the woman who thinks she's in her 50s and 60s and thinks it's too late, or her dream is not possible? Their dream of becoming, and I'm feeding this to you. I'm throwing a softball out there. Dream of being a writer, dream of starting a website, a community, whatever it is. What would you say to her?
I would say, well, first I'd say, stop it.
Yeah.
I really would. I would just be like, if I were close to them, I'd be like, you're making me want to slap you across the face right now, lady. I'm sorry. I'm going to restrain myself. But oh my goodness, there are so many examples out there of women who begin, and they're 50, they're 60, they're 70, they're 80. There's a woman I follow on Instagram who I think started lifting weights or exercising in her 70s. You should see this woman. You should see this woman. She's rock solid.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's 75 or 80, and she hadn't been lifting weights her whole life. And so if that 70-year-old can go and put, 150 pounds on a deadlift bar and pick it up, you're telling me you at 50, 60, 70, or 80 can't sit in front of a computer and type out a few words?
Yes.
Yeah. You
dare
can.
you. We dare you.
We dare you. We dare you to do.
We
yeah,
dare.
Yeah. There it is, right there. I dare you to begin.
Yeah. And I'll even go further. I will tell you, if you are that woman listening to this and you're thinking, it's very easy to say, well, you guys did it, you're doing it. No, we all can do it. And really a good place to find inspiration is KUEL Life.
Yes, because you'll see women out there. You'll see women out there killing it. And the thing is that, all right, I won't speak about them. I'm not special. I'm really not. If I can do it, you can. And so can any woman listening to this. I promise you, I don't have any special, like weird superpowers, or I just don't. I am an ordinary human like everyone else. It's just begin. I just
begin. Oh my God. I love that. You just dare to begin. Dare to begin. And I love that. Also in the show notes below is a link that Jack has given us to 8 ways to make the most of midlife. And I know that before we started, Jack, you shared this. I said, do you want to share a little bit about what they're going to get? And you said, it's not rocket science. It's what you already know, but you just need a reminder for. So click that link and download 8 ways to make midlife your most, because we can get caught up in our heads. We get caught up in the fear, caught up in that noise. I always say that doubt and that fear in your head is simply put, it's just your own voice trying to protect you from what you do not need protecting from. So, if you have this secret dream, if you're ready to embrace where you are right now, because midlife and beyond is truly magical, can be so magical, then check out KUEL Life and look at the thought leaders on Jack's site. Message Jack, send me a message, leave us a comment. You can reach out to us. We are approachable. We're here for you. That's why I do this show. The purpose of my show, Jack, which I say at the end of every show, is my wish and my purpose for this show is that every woman who listens and or man takes one thing, gets one message, aha moment, tip or strategy from each one of the episodes. Just one. That's
well, I'm hoping we laid down at least one, if not a few.
Right. And we're gonna, and there's like over 60. There's over 60 to choose from. So if
Oh, the
just,
Cool Life thought leaders? Absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
there's got to be someone in that
yeah,
roster that
yeah,
appeals, resonates with
absolutely.
any woman out there. I mean, not all of them are going to resonate, of course, but I bet dollars to donuts, there's at least one or two in there
Yeah.
that your listener would appreciate and it would resonate with her and potentially make her feel a little less alone and give her some actionable, steps towards whatever the topic is she's looking to address.
I
I
love
mean,
it. So, here's what I'm going to do. There's a couple dares here. Dare number one is download the 8 ways to make the most of midlife. That's not even a dare. Actually, my dare is to go to KUEL Life, look at the topics, look at who the thought leaders are. Find one, read about them on KUEL Life. Which one is doing something that you secretly think to yourself, that looks really cool. And oh my God, she's the same age as me because they are our age. They are women in midlife and beyond, writing books, writing blogs, starting businesses, supporting other women, doing big moves out in the world. Their second, their third, their fourth acts. Fine. So your dare is to go to KUEL Life, find one of those thought leaders that's doing something or talking about something that sounds really appealing to you, and then take action towards your dream. And it could be simple as reaching out to that thought leader. Hey, what would you tell, here's it. What would you tell your son or daughter if they told you they wanted to be, I don't know, an engineer? Well, let's find somebody who's doing the work you want to do and connect with them in a thoughtful, meaningful way, saying, hey, I'm studying engineering. What you're doing looks like what I want to do. Could I meet with you for 10 minutes and ask you a few questions about what it's like to do what you do? Who wouldn't say yes?
and I'll let you know, all of the thought leaders on Cool Life would
I
say yes.
know.
Oh,
So that's your
there's not a
dare.
woman, because you know what? They wouldn't be part of the roster if they
Right.
had that type of personality, because they wouldn't be, we wouldn't be each other's cup of
Right.
tea, right? I mean, as we were talking about earlier, it's like,
So your dare is to go to KUEL Life, find that one thought leader who looks like she's doing something that resonates with you and reach out to her and ask her for a conversation. It's what I did when I met Luann Kahn about daring. I wrote her a letter and I asked her to have a 10-minute conversation, and she did.
she did.
So, that's your dare. I know. I love this conversation. This was a great conversation, Jack. Thank you for sharing your story. Because your story about how you arrived at where you are today is a more common story. Unfortunately, it's more common than not about the whole menopause thing. So thank you. And I look forward to connecting with you, continuing to connect with you. And ladies, you know what I'm about to say. So take that one takeaway. What was the one thing we said that will move you towards your dreams, towards creating your most fulfilling, purposeful, fun, fulfilling, and mission driven, whatever it is for you, midlife and beyond? Let us know. And don't forget the dare. And don't forget to come back next Thursday with a whole new, brand new episode of Beyond Empty Nest. And as I always say, dare on. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Empty Nest. For detailed show notes and more information, be sure to visit jodysilverman.com. Have you heard of the Double Dares? Well, we're a community of moms and midlife women blending virtual and in-person interactions for connection, support, and exciting experiences. From Mommy and Me classes to soccer sidelines, moms have always found strength in community. And as we navigate the empty nest and other midlife transitions, having that go-to safe space and other women to lean on is a must. Ladies, this is not the chapter to do it alone. Our drama-free group echoes the sentiment of the Cheers theme song, a place where everybody knows your name and our troubles are all the same. If you've been seeking connection and have a desire to figure out who you are and what your purpose is now, then Moms Who Double Dare is the perfect fit for you. Only through the link in our show notes below can you explore and enjoy the first month at half off. Plus, with no contracts, there's zero risk involved. Join us today and get started on your journey of self-discovery. surrounded by new friends who understand and get you. You've sent your kids off to brave new experiences, meet new people, and discover who they get to be. Now it's your turn. It's your turn to embrace this new adventure. If you're ready to dare on, I'm here to lead the way. Let's embark on this exciting journey together. Click the link below, and as I always say, dare on.